Hello, welcome back to the Masonic Roundtable, a weekly hangout where Masons from around the world get together to talk about Masonic news and opinions in a friendly and social manner. The standard disclaimer applies. The thoughts and opinions expressed here are solely the opinions of the participants and do not represent any Grand Lodge statements or positions. Make sure you keep your conversations open for the public and on the level. Tonight, we're soliciting questions and comments from you via Twitter at Mason Roundtable or on the Facebook event page. And as usual, I'm your host, John Ruark, a past master of the Patriot Lodge number 1957 in Fairfax, Virginia. I'll hand it off to Robert Johnson.
Hey guys, Robert Johnson here, the Worshipful Master of Waukegan Lodge number 78 and host of the Masonic podcast, Let's Game You.
Alrighty, Nick Johnson.
I'm Nick Johnson. I'm a past master of Corinthian Lodge number 67 in big time Farmington, Minnesota.
Alright, thank you, Nick. Juan?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Juan Sepulveda, and I am a member of Orange Blossom Lodge number 80 in Kissimmee, Florida, and the host of the Winding Stairs Freemasonry podcast.
Great. And last but not least, Jason Richards.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jason Richards. I am the Junior Warden of Acacia Lodge number 16 in good old Clifton, Virginia, and the Tyler of the Patriot Lodge number 1957 in Fairfax, Virginia.
Okay. Now, as for tonight, we're going to try a new segment. Since Nick Johnson is part of the Educational Committee for Minnesota, I'll let him introduce our new segment. Nick.
Alrighty. Well, excuse the sound of my furnace. It is like -8 degrees outside, so... But I would love to tell you about this special thing that I get to take a part in Minnesota called the Masonic Monday Question. And so we've decided to,
Today's not Monday.
I know. So guess what? We're going to make this an even better deal for you. We're going to make it Masonic Monday Question on Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
What?
Dun, dun, dun.
Whoa. So here we go. I know you guys are excited as I am, like flipping out. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to read a question. Wow, that was gorgeous. I'm going to read this question, and to kind of explain, I send out a weekly email with a question, and people send me their responses back, and then I give you credit. And your name and your whatever gets held out for posterity forever and ever. So I will read off the question, and then I'll tell you how to send in your answer. Don't put it on our Facebook page. I'm just going to ignore those because those don't exist to me. They're dead to me. So
don't put it on Reddit either.
Yeah, well, they'll just downvote you anyway. So, but anyway, so I'll get into the question, and then I will tell you how to send it in and what hashtag to use. So this week's question, fellow seekers, is: I hope all of you have had a wonderful St. John's Day. Many lodges hold celebrations to honor one of our two patron saints, St. John the Evangelist. Interestingly enough, the Evangelist was not always associated with Freemasonry. Your question: in what year was the first verifiable mention of a St. John the Evangelist feast day celebration in the minutes of a lodge, and for which lodge did those minutes pertain? If you would send your answer to that question to masonicmonday@gmail.com, and in the subject heading put the question, which is question number 444, hashtag TMRMMQ, I will give you credit. And don't forget to include your lodge name and your lodge number and your grand jurisdiction so you can get credit and live on in posterity.
Nice.
Thank you.
Awesome. So as you can see there, masonicmonday@gmail.com with the answer, and we will be reading the winners of the TMR viewers next week. So stay tuned, and we'll have a new question next week. Another Masonic Monday question next Tuesday.
And make sure you include that hashtag, because that is how we are going to pick out the people who are viewing this on TMR. Yes. And so if you don't submit that hashtag, we're not reading your name. I don't want anybody crying to me about it.
Boom. Drop the mic. Awesome. So that'll be a new segment for our show. It should be fun. Something that you guys can participate in and get your name read on the air. Now, that's a new segment, and what we normally go to right after introductions is Masonic news. But this being the holiday season, not a lot of Masonic news have gone on.
Wah, wah. And for one,
okay, good. Now we've caught up.
hey, you're back.
I wanted to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy Kwanzaa who've started that celebration between now or Christmas and New Year. So with that,
And a Happy New Year to everybody
that's
tomorrow
true.
night.
That's true.
New
We got
Year.
it all packed together in 1 week.
Except in China.
Did you guys
Except
do
in
anything
China,
for St.
yes.
John's Day?
I did not. You guys do anything for St. John's?
No.
We are all bad Masons.
I remembered it was St. John's Day maybe like half an hour before St. John's Day ended. That's my personal way.
Nice.
Alrighty. Switching over to our topic for tonight, the 47th Problem of Euclid. And I got to give credit to Jason for the awesome title of the show.
Jay-Z, please don't sue us.
It's a
He's a
parody.
Mason, no?
Fair use rights. Yeah, and
Yes.
he's a Mason.
Novice.
Awesome. So let's talk about this thing. In Masonry, one of the many symbols that we can talk about is the 47th Problem of Euclid. What the heck is this thing, and why is it the 47th one? Do you guys want to give a brief overview of what it is? What it's also known as?
Well, it's also known as the Pythagorean theorem. Now, I have to talk first because this is all I know about it, and I'll be quiet for the rest of the episode. No, it's originally attributed to Pythagoras back about 500 BC. However, the Pythagorean theorem, in some form, has been traced back all the way to the ancient Egyptians, and then it was included in Euclid's first set of problems.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like if you look in Mackey's encyclopedia and you look it up, it'll give you a really odd history. But besides giving you this huge, amazing explanation of exactly what it means that nobody on Earth understands except for John. For most of us, it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. But John definitely can go into that a lot better. The attributation, or like the origin story that they give to it, is that apparently it's they say that Pythagoras learned it from the Egyptians, but then it says that Euclid learned it from Pythagoras, Euclid was an Egyptian, and he had a book. His first book, the 47th problem in it, was this amazing diagram that makes a lot of stuff happen.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll start with kind of the actual geometric explanation of it, and I'm not going to put you guys to sleep with it, but I just thought there were some interesting things of how it's used, and then we can go into, well, now what does it mean symbolically? How is it applied, not just in an operative sense, but also a speculative sense? So, as Robert alluded to, it comes down to the Pythagorean theorem. For those who remember the awesome days of geometry, yes, those were awesome days. The Pythagorean theorem basically says that on a right triangle, if you add the sum of the squares of two sides, it equals the square of the opposite side. Do not quote the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz because he actually gets it wrong. He says it's an isosceles triangle. He is incorrect. Don't trust scarecrows, right?
Because he has no brain, of course.
Duh.
Yeah,
That's true.
That right there. That's the That's a hidden message they wanted you to catch. It's the Masonic Wizard of Oz.
All right, so I think I got something to screen share here. Hopefully that will catch up. And do we have working pictures? Yay! Okay. All right. So we got these things. We have a right angle triangle. If you have one side that is length 3, another side of length 4, and this angle between 3 and 4 is 90 degrees, is actually square, then the hypotenuse will be 5 units in length, which also works if you scale it up. So 100 times bigger, 300 on one side, 400 on another side, you'll have 500 on the other side. Okay, so what? How does that help you? Well, the operative masons and those applying this when building things would be able to either start with lengths of string or length of wood and could know that they're building a square room, right? So if you have something that you know is a length 3, a length 4, and a length 5, when you just put them together, it's automatically a right angle, right? So by definition, you're going to get a right angle in this lower corner. And so then all you have to do is flip it over, and you can build a room where all the angles are right angles, and it's perfectly square. You don't have to worry about, having advanced tools or anything like that. If you've got three lengths of wood, 1 3, 1 4, 1 5, boom, you can make a perfectly squared corner room. Of course,
I would be got to talk to the people who built my house.
I mean, they could have just used this, and off you go.
Right. So anybody who's listening just on the podcast, I know it's kind of hard. Don't think too hard if you're listening to this while you're driving. Really, it would behoove you to check out the video for sure on this one.
Get out your protractor while you're driving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Good idea.
Just remember, if your car and the tree form a right angle.
Right. So that was very powerful back in the day. If you knew this basic fact, you could make perfectly square stones, perfectly square buildings. This was a key tenet of architecture, which is why geometry was so important for the actual operative stonemasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, another thing that I want to talk about, I don't know if we want to get into the unit of phi, but when we talked back in the arithmetic episode, we talked about the beauty of the irrational number of phi, which is roughly equivalent to 1.61 something something, right?
1.8.
Right. Thank you, Juan. Actually, the reason people like it is because it has a beauty of, not symmetry, but a beauty of proportion. And very roughly, if you divide 5 by 3, you'll get 1.666666. So not quite 1.61, but at a very rough level, a very coarse grain level, just dividing 5 by 3 with those things you already have on hand, you can build a structure that is very close to a golden ratio, right? Now, it gets better because in my research here...
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. If you draw a line from that right angled corner and make it perpendicular to this the hypotenuse, then by calling oops, I got my numbers mixed up here. By calling this unit 1, then the total length is 1.618. It's actually phi. So you can actually get a phi proportion just by dividing this line up, this hypotenuse.
So if you guys are listening to describe this, your right angle triangle, the hypotenuse he's talking about, if you guys don't remember what that is, it's
the long side.
It's the long side of the triangle, the form that sides the diagonal.
And this is also the episode where we introduce our podcast listeners to YouTube. This is a very, very visual program, and if you're thinking, what are they talking about? You got to go to YouTube and check this out.
Or
Not
just
everybody-
fast forward it to the esoteric part of the
Yes,
episode,
yes.
which
Wait
will be
until
coming up shortly.
you stop hearing my voice, and then you know you're onto something cool. Yeah, but I thought this was fascinating though, because
It is.
with one
You're the only
line,
one.
you can create the golden ratio.
Yeah, I wanted to mention also when I was reading about it, I was coming across a lot of things that are practical to me. You know, as an artist, it is important that whether I'm creating a realistic painting or it's a fantasy-based painting, it needs to have a certain level of realism in order for people, when they see it, to instantly recognize it. More especially when I'm talking about perspective. If I have used actual mathematical equations using the 47th problem of Euclid, or the Pythagorean theorem, to actually find out what's the approximate dimension of something when looked at a distance. And it's a lot of fun. It's that moment when I'm painting, when I actually have to stop and I'm like, holy crap, this looks kind of weird. Why does it look weird? And if it looks weird to me, when someone looks at the painting, they're going to think that's, cartoonish. And I actually go to paper and actually measure the different angles and the different lengths of things in the painting, and I can tell you exactly how big it would have been if that was a real landscape.
So what I'll do is I'll wrap up this with one last thing, and then we can kind of transition. But this is just the first of many things you can do with the right triangle, and this will get you phi very quickly. There are ways you can put this right triangle inside of a circle and create a whole bunch of other measurements that really equate to some of the cubits that were found in the Bible. So, this is really just an intro, beginner's part of how you take something very simple, and just by adding a couple more lines to it that are either at right angles, you will get some amazing results.
Now,
With
John,
that, I'll stop geeking out.
Before you move on, John, you're not done. Because if we're watching this on YouTube, I love math, and if I love math, there has to be some other people also. So in the diagram that's on the screen, we have the right triangle. You have your line coming out of it, and what is that square, and why is it off? Why is it tilted?
Yeah, so the square is the best I could get with PowerPoint. This line that cuts through the hypotenuse should be perpendicular to the hypotenuse. So that was the intent.
That square should be right along that line. It's just
it should be just I blame Microsoft.
John is a bad mason and can't square his work.
Square work and square work only.
That's it. I'm out of the York right. Okay. That's the intent there.
Oh, that's really cool.
All right. So now that we've geeked out a bit, what does it all mean? What's the point of it? Now, again, we build a lot of our lessons from operative masonry, and I'm sure those who are in the operatives, that there's a pendant body of masonry that is based on actual operative ritual, or so they say, and that I'm sure they will have many more explanations of what I just said, and then some. But let's take it now to the speculative level. How can we apply some of the 3-4-5 triangle, the right triangle, the 47th problem of Euclid, and apply that to other aspects? Gents, I'll open it up.
Doing some of the I research a lot of both sides, but I tend to lean toward the more esoteric stuff. One of the more interesting things that I read, some people like Manly P. Hall, some people don't like Manly P. Hall. One of the interesting things that he had as a diagram in one of his books was actually showing the right triangle as it relates to the 47th problem of Euclid, and the 3-4-5. So the 3, he said, was spirit, the 4 was matter, and 5 was man. Kind of alluding to, so the perpendicular of the triangle is the 3, the horizontal plane is the 4, and the hypotenuse is the 5. It also alludes to the spirit, matter, and the equilibrium that you get between the two as a man. So you have to kind of balance your spiritual life with your material life, and they say that somewhere in the middle, you find this happy middle ground, and that's kind of what he alluded to. It. He also had a similar diagram that instead of spirit, matter, man. If you guys know Manly P. Hall, he had a total thing for Egyptian mystical stuff. So he went with Osiris, Isis, and Horus, kind of alluding to the father, mother, and the son kind of thing. So
Yeah.
that's
And
pretty
then
much what I've studied regarding the 47th problem.
And what's really interesting about that too is actually the pyramid itself, right? When you think about it, I was doing a little research and I kind of found a similar thing that you found, and that it's this idea of the oneness being joined with the Pythagorean. So the point at the top of the pyramid is the one, right? And then the faces are three-sided. The square base is 4. Then the 4 corners plus the top completes that number 5. So
Right.
then it's 1, 3, 4, 5. And so it's this idea that arrangement of numbers leads you to this representation of God. So
Yeah, if you guys read the Mackey's Encyclopedia at all, I kind of alluded to this huge, long, drawn-out thing, and I want to have John read it at some point over the next week, and you're going to have to break it down for me in a couple of paragraphs, John, because I mean, literally, it talks about dividing these numbers and how to get this and this and this and this equals. One part of the numbers equals the 3 and the 4 and then the 5, and it all comes together some beautiful thing that guys like John will really geek on.
I'll
You
use
don't have to
puppets.
you're gonna have to be Mama Bird. You're gonna have to eat it, chew it up, and then spit it into our mouths. Not really. I was laughing at Jason making them num num nums.
Num num.
It's the only constructive discourse I can add to the conversation.
It's a hard thing. I mean, it's a difficult subject, the 47 problem, right? I mean, mathematics, isn't it? I mean, our arithmetic show, we did a pretty good job, I think, of being half entertaining. But geometry is. It's a lot more complex. And, in the degree work, we talk about the 47th problem. And here in Illinois, we talk about it primarily in our Master Mason degree. It is a symbol of the Master Mason. It's a complex thing.
Well, you've got the 3 sides for 3 degrees. And
That's all I got.
even though there were originally just 2 degrees.
Oh.
But then, the original degrees are 3 plus the Holy Royal Arch, so that's 4. I'm not getting it. I'm sorry.
It's
Nice
okay.
try.
We do the 3, 7, 9, 12, 32. Plus that administrative 32.
Well, 3, 5, 7 is almost a golden ratio.
Almost.
Almost.
Mm-hmm.
Nice,
Well, and
nice try.
Did you guys see the Nova program that was just shown, building the great cathedrals? Because they were discussing the cathedral builders, the guys who actually designed it. One of the cathedrals they were discussing, Chartres Cathedral out in Chartres, which is I think it's like southwest of Paris, and it's a Gothic cathedral. And what was really interesting is that they have carvings, they have statues of Jesus, obviously, and Mary and the disciples. But what was really interesting is they also found Greek and Roman scientists, and then they also found Aristotle, Euclid, and Pythagoras carved into the cathedral. And so it was really amazing, that these medieval priests and designers of the cathedrals were revering these very wise but pre-Christian pagan figures, and acknowledging the importance that they provided in the cathedral building. So.
And today I was thinking about that, about the transcendence of a man's labor, particularly we're talking about a man that lived around, 323 BCE. That is a long time for us to now be uttering his name and referring to his work. Think about this, becoming the vice president of a country, let's say the vice president of the United States, that's a big, big accomplishment for one man, right? How many vice presidents can we name?
Who was George Washington's vice president?
He's not a Mason, so don't worry.
It's okay.
Wasn't it
Adams.
Adams? Yeah, right?
Rats. Maybe it was.
Anyway, but now, over 2,000 years later, we're still uttering this man's name for his labor. It really made a huge difference, whatever he contributed. And talking about presidents, I was reading that Abraham Lincoln was one that really admired the publication that he had called Elements, in which he actually talks about all these different problems, because he saw this almost like as poetry of nature. Like when you see that the golden ratio is something that repeats itself throughout nature, and we recognize it as beautiful. It's as a part of ourselves, we recognize things that have these proportions as beautiful. And there's a quote that Lincoln used to mention from Euclid that I wrote down here. It says, "The laws of nature are but the mathematical thoughts of God." I thought that was really cool.
Nice.
Well, so we've mentioned it before. Donald Duck and Mathemagic Land.
Yeah, whoever can give us a link, post a link on Facebook.
Right now. Do it right now. It's an amazing cartoon, and when you realize they made this for kids, but I could watch that
Oh yeah.
times and not soak it all in. It's a really interesting. I think it's 20 minutes, maybe 13 minutes. It's short. I can't even remember, but it talks about Pythagoras, the signs, like Pythagoras' secret sign he had on the hand, and all these amazing things. And to think that when this was produced, this is the kind of thing that we were teaching our kids. And today, I mean, they might learn this stuff in a roundabout way through whatever they're doing, but not this way.
I didn't see that on SpongeBob. I'm sorry.
No, I've seen a lot of weird stuff on SpongeBob.
But for anybody,
Sorry.
For anybody who's interested in checking out that cartoon, I'll look it up and I'll post it in the show notes.
I think because we love Pythagoras so much, I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking about sacrificing 100 head of cattle just because I think he's so awesome.
Well, that's the true reason as to why we remember his name today. You didn't get anywhere in 323 BC unless you slaughtered 100 animals.
100 animals, yo.
Because you were really excited about finding out something new.
I learned math. Something has to die.
Yeah. So, anybody if you're Masons and you know what that is, whatever. But we have a thing that says when Pythagoras discovered it, he yelled "Eureka" and sacrificed a hecatomb. And some guys say, "What's a hecatomb? Does that still exist? Is that still an animal that exists?" Yeah.
It's extinct. We killed them all off.
I was in the dark too. So a hecatomb is just 100 head of cattle. That seems like quite a waste. That's like a lot of beef. A lot.
Now we don't know if it was his cattle.
He was that excited, I mean, it was
Next time I get excited, I'm just gonna eat steak.
I'm gonna eat steak.
Never mind the fact that it wasn't actually Pythagoras who historically is credited with yelling "Eureka."
Exactly.
It's actually Archimedes.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we've got Euclid, Archimedes, and Pythagoras all mixed up in the same legend here.
A
Again,
bunch of guys with funny names.
don't
doing
get caught
math.
up in the historical details. Get it where it counts. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, too, about the 47th problem of Euclid is that I don't know if we mentioned it earlier in the show, it's actually the past master jewel of Pennsylvania Masons. When I went up and visited my buddy, Worshipful Paul Chamberlain, and was actually, I think the first time it really kind of hit me, went to his lodge, didn't really think much about it, stopped by the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, and I was trolling through the gift shop, and they said, "Oh, past master jewels, or the lapel pins. Great, let me go check them out." They weren't the past master lapel pins I was used to. They were exactly the Pythagorean theorem, the picture of that. And I wondered, what was that all about? Doing a little research, they fall back to the older style of, like, almost closer to English emulation style of masonry. We'll probably have a show about that in the future of why Pennsylvania is so different. So I know we have a couple of Pennsylvania listeners, and they would shoot me if I didn't mention that jewel. Now, in my research, I found it really fascinating. So why is that their past master jewel? What does that mean? It's just alluded to in the ritual. We've talked a little bit about it, and we haven't found any profound oneness other than, this practical application, the operative application of it. Well, if you dig a little deeper, if you look at that 3, 4, 5 triangle and how one side is longer than the other, when they used to do the square and compasses, or the master's square even, the jewel around his office, it used to be a 3-4 square, not the symmetrical square.
I lost you, John.
He's giving us duck face.
Okay, sorry.
John's back. Start over.
My computer's screwing up. So, not the symmetrical used to saying with masters today, but the one side used to be longer than the other, and it was a 3-4 square. Therefore, once they became a past master, they had completed the final side of their triangle.
Ah,
That's cool.
that is cool.
So they had reached that perfection of the triangle, gone from the square to the triangle.
That's cool.
Well, if you take a look at the one side as the plum, the junior warden, and then the level, and then the master's year as the hypotenuse, which seems a whole lot longer than either the junior warden or senior warden years, then it makes sense.
That is so true. It was really funny. I used to wear, when I first became a Master Mason, I like math, so that's kind of what I used to wear. I used to wear just a 47th problem of Euclid with a little teeny square and compass in the middle. And I used to wear that pin on my jacket all the time. And I had a past master stop me and say, "Why did you pick the 47th problem? Like, why did you do that?" And I said, "Well, I don't know, I just liked it." And then he was telling me that in PA it's a huge deal. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know why at that time until just now.
I think it's also
explains why when I do a search for a square and compass on the internet, sometimes I see the 3-4 square and I go, "That looks ridiculous."
You got this long thing just sticking out.
What is that? Somebody's not doing it right. That's not how we did it in my day.
You
Nick,
can't
were
say
gonna
that. You have to have a past in front of your name now.
Not yet.
You're not disgruntled yet.
This is your year. This is how we're doing it your year, Robert.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
But isn't it also the Master's Jewel for the United Grand Lodge of England? I think it is, right?
Are you asking or telling, Mike?
I believe so.
I could be telling, but I don't know. Let me look. Hold on. Yes, it is. Sorry, I was trying to be all Columbo about it, but I failed again.
Oh gosh. All right, Jason. What are they saying on social media?
on social media, I am very excited because Joe Vanderstelt posted the Donald Duck Mathemagical Land on Facebook. So you guys can go check that out, and I'll move it over to the MasonicRoundtable.com here in the next couple hours. Okay, I have to screen share this because this is awesome. From our good friend Donnie Dillon, who is very enthusiastic about sharing all things awesome with us on the show. Says, does this picture really irritate anyone else, or is it just me?
Oh, it's not. Oh, that's horrible.
Oh yeah, the one.
So, for those on the podcast, what the picture is, it's supposed to look like the 3-4-5 triangle, but it's actually got two sides that are equal instead of 3 and 4.
It's basically Mickey Mouse.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Chinese takeout box.
It is. That's what it looks like.
It's a takeout box.
Oh, that's horrible, Donnie. I hate you.
Yes, that's. It's what has been seen cannot be unseen. So
that's totally messing with my OCD, man. That is horrible.
To make up for it, I'll screen share another thing from Donnie real quick, which will more than make up for it. More like the Elder Wand. It's taken from one of those like bad answers to exam questions.
Nice.
And
what is the dotted line called? It's called the Elder Wand.
Yes. So getting back to it, let's see. We have a couple videos that some brothers have posted. Check those out. There's another one that's called "What Was Up with Pythagoras," which I haven't watched yet, but I'm planning to at some point soon. And
there's gotta be a rap video. I want a Pythagorean theorem rap video. We should get on that.
I'm sure somebody already has.
I need to find.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, that would be very gangster right there.
Guys, you need it. So if you're out there, just do it.
That's right. Come on, Masons.
Exactly.
Don't let us down.
We need a rap video of the Pythagorean theorem. And aside from those two memes, that was about it for Masonic awesomeness.
Where's apathy when you need them?
I know.
Apathy, if you're listening, Pythagorean rap. It can be like 30 seconds even.
Yes. Just a snippet. Alrighty. Well, in the spirit of wrapping things up, let's get going to our final thoughts and conclusions.
You're punny.
Let's start with Juan. How you doing?
All right. Well, I like this. I like all the episodes, to be quite honest with you. I like the structured research. You know, we can't always get to do our due diligence and all the research, but you know, when we find a topic that we really like and we can get into it, we earn a lot from it. And you know, I want to encourage the brothers, if you got to this and you found a lot of interesting points discussed, you know, don't let it end here. This should be this sparking of light. So now it's on you. The ball's on your court. Go out there, find whatever pieces we missed, and let us know. Go to our website, send us an email, comment on the YouTube pages, do everything necessary so that we can keep the conversation going. And as a matter of fact, one of the simplest explanations I found in the research about the 47th problem of Euclid is that the symbolism of it is to encourage you to fervently look at the liberal arts and sciences. So it's that reminder that there are deeper, more complex lessons in Masonry, and it's pretty much our duty to seek more light in them.
Beautiful.
Now, to close out, thank you so much for everybody who listens, comments, and shares the Masonic Roundtable programs. We have heard some inquiries from lodges to see if they can use our videos in their Masonic education. And I want to let you brothers know, and brothers nod if you agree with me, by all means.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's exciting.
this
sir.
is a conversation starter, and what we're doing here is one of the things that I came to Masonry looking for, and I'm very fortunate that I found it with you, brother. So, and last but not least, thank you for everybody who subscribes to the Winding Stairs Freemasonry podcast. And lately, we started a discussion group. And these brothers from the Masonic Roundtable have blown it up. Discussions that
In
are
both the good and bad sense.
Yeah, it's like just because we disagree with points doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about them. There are a lot of things in Masonry that we're going to find a lot of disparate opinions. That's what we're here about. We're here to discuss them. So go, if you're on Facebook, look up the Winding Stairs Freemasonry group and join us. You're not going to regret it.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much, Juan. Jason Richards.
Thanks, Sean. Final thoughts for someone who's a historian. Math is definitely not my area. However, it's really interesting when you look at it from a historical perspective of the ideas behind the Pythagorean theorem and how it was used by the ancients to construct amazing things like the pyramids and Solomon's temple. At some point we'll probably have a show about ancient geometry, which is just an entire mind-blowing phenomenon as far as how these little tricks that people used thousands of years ago to construct these amazing things that we wouldn't be able to replicate today, even with all of our modern technology. So it's really cool. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for communicating with us. Thanks for liking us on Facebook and contributing to the discussion. I try to get around to everybody in all of the social media parts of the shows. So please, if you're able to watch it live, go ahead and let us know what you're thinking as the episode's going on. If not, go back to the episode page and post on it afterward. We all monitor the Facebook page, and we'd love to hear from you. My name's Jason Richards. I've got the blog, The 2-Foot Ruler, Masonry in Plain Language. I'm also a contributor for the Midnight Freemasons, and my next Midnight Freemasons article is dropping tomorrow. So it's called Virtuous Resolutions. You can check it out tomorrow on the midnightfreemasons.org and on the Facebook page as well. Let me know what you think of it. Hope you like it. Let me know if you don't. Let me know how I can make it better. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.
Excellent. I'll hand it off to Robert Johnson.
Hey, guys. So, kind of wrapping it up, I talked a lot about Mackey's, or twice anyway. I mentioned it. But if you guys don't have a copy of Mackey's Masonic Encyclopedia, there's actually the most recent version of it is online. There is a link to it on wcypodcast.com. It's under a section on the right that says Further Light. You can click it. And when you search for it, it's not by a number. You actually have to spell it out. So 47. That's how it's categorized. And if you can follow along, send me an email. Break it down for me because, dude, it is complicated for me. But we had a lot of fun on this show. And I would just like to echo what everybody else said was we had a lot of info, and it is a difficult subject. So we had good information, we had some good laughs, and thanks for watching it. I do want to just mention a few things. Brother Jason Richards, his article is awesome. I read it this morning when he sent it over, then a slight revision this afternoon. It's a wonderful article, and I think you guys really like it. It'll be out at 5 a.m.
I messed up the numbers. That's why I had to revise it.
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
got the math wrong.
But again, really cool, and if you guys like that, put the comments down there, send Jason an email, tell him it's awesome, because it is. The Winding Stairs Facebook group. Guys, I am sorry, but I hate Masonic groups on Facebook. Not because they're bad, but because they just get out of control and stupid sometimes. But the Winding Stairs group, Juan has not paid me to say that. It's one of the only Masonic groups that I stayed a part of. I dumped a lot of them. Something about all things Masonic, yada, yada, yada. the winding stairs, I've witnessed brothers on the level. It doesn't get out of control, and you can literally just say what's on your mind on that. Guys are really cool. They're supportive, and they offer solutions, and we talk about stuff, and it's actually it's really good. I don't know what to say. So
Group therapy, is that what it sounds like?
it's like
Thank you.
Masonic therapy. It was really good. So I had the last episode of my show last 2 weeks ago or whatever, and this has been kind of interesting having a little break. So I was able to get on there and check it out. So it's really cool. It's good. Check out Winding Stairs Facebook group. I do want to mention that the print book from Tales from the Craft from Steve Harrison's coming out. If you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, check it out on the ebook, Tales from the Craft by Stephen Harrison. Wanted to also mention that Joseph James, the guy who did the Freemason movie, has a really cool email distribution list for a newsletter that's going to be happening soon, and you're not going to want to miss some of the news coming out about that movie. So check it out, thefreemasonmovie.com. And if you like podcasts, Masonic or otherwise, wcypodcast.com. I'll be back in another week and a half.
Awesome.
And that was a mouthful, sorry.
That's what it's there for. Awesome.
Woo.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
Nick Johnson.
All right. You know what? I'm going to start with my plugs because I want to get them done. You can find my blog at millennialfreemason.com. It's a wonderful place that I promise is going to get content this time. Maybe.
You've had a lot of content recently, though.
I know. It's been actually. Yeah, you guys are encouraging me to write because I've been a slouch, and so I'm gonna. This is my New Year's resolution: 1 blog post a week. We'll see how long it lasts. Probably as long as when I'm at the gym. So February, maybe March, but I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this year. Also, I'm on reddit.com/r/freemasonry, and if you are a regular user, you will see something that's never been there before. The downvote.
The holy
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
We have added something that Facebook does not have the courage to add.
Boom.
So please, come join us. You're gonna love it. It's a beautiful place. It changes your life. Also go to Yorkrite, r/Yorkrite, r/ScottishRite.
No. Just
Or
Nope.
well, not Scottish Rite. Yeah, forget that.
r/Jesters.
And so just come on out and actually check out my old posts because they're really good. I guess. I think. I don't know.
I guarantee you.
Yeah. I used to be somebody. Now I'm kind of like Rocky and Rocky 5. So one of these days I'm going to get there. But again, the same distance as how long it takes me to get out of the gym. So
we need a blogging montage.
Yes, we do.
A montage of you just sitting at your computer.
And then finally, if you haven't donated yet, come on out and donate to me for the Polar Plunge. And you know what? I'm going to give you guys on the video something that the audio guys are not going to get, and that is a picture of me looking scared as I jump into the water. See the guy on the right side? That's me. And yes, it is flipping cold.
It
And
looks
yes,
like
I did.
about to go, what do I do with my glasses?
That's actually what was going on because I had forgotten to leave them in my bag because I was so excited, and then I'm like, oh crap! And then of course the one dude, he's jumping in ready to go because he knows. See, the thing is, when you hit that water, when you start out, you're like, oh, we're all in this together, guys. This is gonna be awesome. You hit that water, you are running back and you are knocking people out. You're like, I'm getting out of this water. Every man for himself.
It's funny. You're the only one in the picture whose feet have not left the ground.
Yeah, I know. I was letting their wake open it up so that I could walk out faster.
If you made it in the water?
Yeah, that's a good point. So donate and make sure it happens this year.
Make sure it happens.
So, Nick, where's your money
man.
going this year for donation?
It goes to Special Olympics. It's actually something that we do with It's like a big thing out here because we're all nut jobs, and so yeah. It goes to Special Olympics of Minnesota. It's a really good program. Family of mine has been in Special Olympics, and it's a really good thing. Brother in my lodge, his son has been in it, and it's really a worthwhile place to donate. So let me get the URL, but I lost it. Anyway, look me up. I'll put it again on the Facebook page or find it on there or whatever. It's all good. And so, yeah, cool. Thank you, man. And so, because I did all my plugs early to get them out of the way, I'm going to treat all of you to a song.
Oh,
I know. You're all excited, aren't you?
Mute him, John. Mute him.
I'm very well acquainted too with matters mathematical. I understand equations both the simple and quadratical. About binomial theorem I am teeming with lots of news. I'm with many cheerful facts about the square of the hypotenuse. Winning. You're welcome, all
that
of
was
you.
lovely.
I don't
Boom.
know anybody who has
Mic
sang
drop.
the world like you just did. Grapefruits, man.
And we get our highest ratings for the show whenever Nick sings, so who knows?
We are
It
through
might
the
be telling
roof
us
today.
something. Yeah.
Through the roof. I mean, I think we hit the stratosphere. No, what's the lower than that? My roof. No.
Lower than your roof.
Oh, nice.
My expectation.
Hey, John, you should wrap up.
Yeah, let's do that.
He didn't mean rap. Like,
Hey,
he mean like wrap up.
wrap up. What's up,
Wrap it, sucker.
guys? Thank you very much for watching. As a reminder, we'll be adding a new segment. Make sure you send your responses to masonicmonday@gmail.com with the hashtag TMRMMQ. I believe that's correct.
It is.
And Nick will filter those out just for you, the TMR listeners. My final thoughts include the fact that the 47th problem was Euclid was so important for operative Masons to be included into our ritual. Although we don't go a lot into it, either here or in Lodge, think about how you can move from the 3-4 square to the completion of the perfect triangle. With that, thanks for watching, and have a great night. Keep searching for more light.